starting on the Touareg. This is our 2006, I believe. 2006 Volkswagen Touareg TDI. So things changed with the white Touareg. We found some excessive wear on the camshaft and camshaft hold down clamps. There's no replaceable bearings in it, so I'm going to do some research. Got to pull the motor to replace the lifters or tappets. So before we do that, well, we decided we're going to put it on the back burner because we're not going to make any money on that car, and we're at the point where we're just chasing our tails, fix one thing, find another problem, find another problem. So we're thinking of just pulling the motor completely and rebuilding it top to bottom. So I'm gonna do some research, get some parts list together, costs, and figure out what we're gonna do. But in the meantime, this is our running V10 TDI. This has got the turbo issue. So what we're gonna do today, the wife wants to start driving it and she wants us to look at getting it road ready. And we'll drive, my oldest daughter can drive this while we work on hers. So what we're gonna do today is change the oil filter. I'm not gonna flush the coolant system yet because we'll be, to work on the turbo, if we have to replace it or anything, we're gonna have to drop the motor. So then we'll have to drain the coolant then. So the plan's just to oil. I think I have the fuel filter for it, so we'll do fuel filter, oil filter, and oil. That way she likes to drive it around the property, let the little kids drive it. And in the meantime, what we're thinking of is pulling the turbo off the black 2004 TDI and putting it on this one to see if that fixes the problem with this one, and then we're good to go. And we'll just end up replacing the turbo on the black one when we rebuild the motor. So that's the plan for right now. So we'll get started on this. We'll get the jack up, pull the drain plug on the oil filter, and get to it. So the first thing, we're gonna have to jack it up to get underneath it. I went ahead and loosened off the oil filter cap. Because typically when they have the filter like that, there's a check valve, keeps the oil from anti-drain back valve. So by lifting the filter, it allows the filter to drain, or the filter housing to drain too. So now we got that, we'll go ahead and jack it up, slide under, and pull the drain plug. Okay, so it's been worked on. Obviously, people work on things, they don't put all the screws back or they lose them. So here's the plastic cover, what we call a skid plate. That's just hanging down. The drain plug, let's see, is right behind. All right, so I got 2 air filters, an oil filter, and a fuel filter, and our 3 jugs of oil, plus this little strut. I'll show you what this strut's for here in a little bit, but should be able to do a decent tune-up. I do have the coolant, but like I said, I'm skipping the coolant for now because I'm planning on dropping the motor soon. So let's go ahead and probably do the fuel filter first, and we'll do the oil filter, cartridge, and the air filters, and then probably be time to check it back up and put the drain plug back in the oil pan, fill it up, and pretty straightforward. We'll check tire pressure on this one. I bought these. This Touareg came with the 19-inch wheels. The white one had 18-inch, and we had bought these tires for the white one because my daughter was gonna have it before we got the diesel ones. Once we got the diesel ones, plans were to sell the white one. We took the tires off and put it on this one. So this has brand new Toyo Open Country AT3s. Now these are the P-rated tires, not the LT. So big difference is your shoulders are not as squared off. But an LT light truck tire, your shoulders are gonna be much more squared off. And also, what I noticed is your tread's not as deep, but I've ran these, the AT2 version of these before, and they worked fine. I really like these in the rain and the snow. And we'll see how many miles we get out of the LT version. I would get about, I think the last set I got on the Cadillac was 60,000 miles. So it's pretty good for an all-terrain tire, I think. That's still really good traction. Yeah, so So we'll be able to do a tire review on that once we get this thing roadworthy. Okay, so took the 4 screws out. I think this is just a bleeder screw. Took it out anyway just to remove any vacuum. 4 screws out. Careful not to get any debris in there. There's the filter. The new filter came with new O-rings, so we'll get those all replaced. We'll pull that filter first. Okay, so I got the filter just sitting there draining. There's your big O-ring and that little combination O-ring. The kit comes with big O-ring, combination O-ring, and you'll see this flat metal washer. That is a replacement washer for your bleed screw. It's probably a sealing washer. So, nice little kit. See, this is the new filter, keeping it clean. Definitely some buildup on this filter. So, again, we're changing the fuel filter and the oil filter. Just doing a visual check out of it. So, my wife enjoys driving around the property with this and letting the little kids drive it as well. Even my youngest daughter, Jenna, can fit in there, touch the pedals and drive, and they just get a kick out of it. So, meanwhile, they can drive it. We're not doing any damage and probably helping the motor by keeping a good clean oil in it. And then we'll try to pull that turbo on the other one. So let's finish this up. Okay, wish I could have recorded that. Pretty straightforward. I left this screw, the bleeder screw completely out. And as I evenly tighten down, it's tight fit. So you'll get it in there to where there's about a 1/8 inch gap between the lip here's. Get your screws started, and then by hand, I just did it all by hand using just the extension and my Torx bit. And as I tightened it down, fuel came out of here, so that pushed some of that air out of it. What I'll probably do is I'm gonna go ahead and tighten it up to set the bleeder screw, just snug it, not tight, clean up the fuel, and then before I start it, I'll probably turn the ignition on, let it charge the pump, come up here and just break the screw out and see if I get much air, just to kind of eliminate and reduce the amount of air that I'm gonna have in the system. It's pretty straightforward. This thick rubber one, big rubber one, will go around. You'll clean off this cap, clean off the edge, stretch this out on it, and it'll sit in there nice and snug. Then I just put some oil, clean engine oil on it, so when it slid down in here, it didn't bind up. And then the blue one, what I did was, this blue one, I put the new filter. I did the same thing. There's an O-ring on there's a seal on the top of the filter. Where's my old filter? There we go. So you have that seal on the top, some seal on the bottom. And these fit very snug over that center stem in the fuel filter housing. So put a little bit of oil on them, work it down. You'll feel it when it gets close to the top. I had to kind of line up that stem to the top hole of the filter. Once I got it pushed in, it's seated, then this piece only fits on one way. So I set it on the top of the valve stem. There's a groove in there. It fits right in there nice and even. Then I put the cap on. So again, I'm gonna snug this up by hand, finish everything else, then we'll bleed some more air out. Okay, I got the oil filter cavity cleaned up. I got the new oil filter. I took some brake clean, cleaned up the inside and outside of the cap. Snapped in the new oil filter and the new O-ring. Put some clean engine oil on the O-ring here and the O-ring on the tip. That'll slide down into there. So, go ahead and get that put in. Pretty easy. We'll get this snugged up, and then we'll lift the motor, or lift the car up, put the plug back in, fill it with oil, check it, top it off, run it, whatever we gotta do. Then we need to clean the engine. We want to pressure wash the whole engine, so we'll do that as soon as we get done. We'll pull it out, let it cool down, mix up some soap, degreaser, clean this whole thing up. Got the battery charger on it. because this does have, I think the batteries are shot, plus the, I believe I got a battery drain. I'm guessing it's by the Kelsey on the door handles, because it's got that keyless entry. Don't know if I can pop a fuse and disable it until I troubleshoot that, but it's on the list of things to do. So right now, keep the battery charger on it. Once we get this done, pull it out, clean the engine, and we'll be done with that. Oh, actually, you know what? I'll go ahead and put the code reader on it, scan the codes, so we can see the exact code that it's reporting for that turbo. Okay, so we went ahead and pulled out the old air filter. It's actually fairly simple. Passenger side, there's one hose connection you gotta watch out for. And that's it. So I'll show you how that comes apart. Once I put it back together, there's 2 little plastic screws that will allow you to pull this back and just slide up that. Well designed. Okay, so on passenger side, or this would be bank 1, I believe. You're gonna have this little connector here that attaches to that. I just pushed it in, pulled it back, and it came right off. It feels like some kind of a lock. But you push it in, pull back on the little plastic piece, and it seems to slide right off. And you have these little screws here. You'll have 2 of them, 1 on each side, on each box. So you'll pull these up. They have a torque spit on them, but I just use that to work it, and then just pulled up on it and it slides out. This allows that piece to slide back. So you can see that's it right here. So pull those 2 things out, disconnect that on the passenger side, bank 1. Then you can pull your cover off, replace your filter. I went ahead and vacuumed out the inside of the air box. Had some debris in there, so get that cleaned up. Got the new filter put back in this side. Got the new filter here, just getting ready to put the cover on. There's our old filters. They weren't too bad, but hopefully this will make it better, and we'll keep on troubleshooting. Be nice to see this thing on the road. All right, let me get this cover back on, and I think we'll be ready to put the plug on the oil pan and fill it with oil. All right. Got the engine all full with oil. New air filters, new fuel filter. Started right up, didn't even miss a lick. Kind of a noisy engine, I don't know if that's normal, but now we got some good clean oil in it. We'll run it. Just gonna let it idle here for about a minute or so. Let it circulate through, fill up the oil filter. Reservoir's there. Then we'll shut her down, let her rest, recheck it, top it off if we need to. Then we'll install that little mini strut. So we'll check the tire pressure here. Once I shut it down, let it sit, tire pressure, and we'll pull it out, let it cool down, and clean the engine. So this little mini strut, here's your part number. This little mini strut is actually for the parking brake pedal. So it attaches right there and right there in the center of the screen. And that, actually I don't think I had it right there. It's further back up there. Don't have good light, but you'll see it. Same kind of piece like that. And it goes something like this. So I'm gonna put that on there. What that does is when you release the brake, it keeps the pedal up. Right now, the old one broke, or actually just quit working. So the parking brake light stays on. You gotta lift it up with your toe, and then it just falls back down. You can see there's some loose. So we're gonna go ahead and replace that strut. And as you can see, I need a new hood release cable. This thing broke right here. So what we did is we popped it off out of the housing, pulled it out here. I stretched the cable housing to where I could get my pliers onto the remaining wire rope and then use my channel locks, pulled it, released it. We just won't shut the hood all the way until I get a replacement hood release cable. So we'll do a video on that too. Well, let's get this strut on there. Okay, so that's with the strut installed. When I release the brake, parking brake, she comes up. All right, that was easy. All right, so get the oil topped off. I pulled it out of the shop here. We're gonna leave the hood up and let it cool down. It's gonna have a cool day. Once it cools down, we'll clean this motor. While we're waiting, I'm gonna hook up my scanner so we can see the code that it's reporting for the turbo. All right, sorry for the glare, but we got the scanner hooked up. We're gonna do a auto detect. Excuse me. I'm sure you get rid of that glare, but again, this is our 2006 Volkswagen Touareg TDI with the V10. It does run. We know it has a battery drain issue. So we'll see what the codes are. We'll just read everything and then clear it, and we should be able to read it again. All right, it's a US Touareg. Should be this one. So we got a lot of functions and stuff like that, but oops, that's not what I wanted. I'm just gonna read, we'll do an auto scan, which will scan all the computers on it. So this is gonna take a little while. And then we can do a quick erase from there. But you can see 7 faults for the engine control module. A lot of these are going to be power issues related, so that's why I'm going to clear most of them. We'll still take a look at the transmission cleared good, so we'll mainly focus on the engine control. I'm not going to be worrying about the other ones, but figured I'd show you that this will do. There's your Kessie key system. I think that's what's causing there's 11 faults there. I think that's what's causing our power drain. So, but yeah, while we're waiting for that, I'll kind of just tell you a little bit about this car. Again, 2006. It came factory with the air suspension, but previous owner did a strut conversion. So the pump is still on the car, and the primary tank, which is underneath, is still there. The rear tank in the spare tire carrier area is missing in the strut. So all the airlines are there. Theoretically, my plan is to switch it back to air ride. I think I like the idea of it. Plus, then you can take advantage of your different handling modes: sport, auto, or comfort. The ride adjustment. It does have high and low range, different center differential lock, no rear diff. Our 2004 V10 TDI does have the locking rear axle. So, what else? So it's got, move this out of the way. It's got the GPS navigation and the backup camera. It does have front and rear parking sensors, so it lights up right there at that little lip. It's pretty slick. So it has sensors, so if you're driving like under 5 miles an hour or something like that, it'll tell you if you're getting too close to something, how close. Same with backing up. Even on the side, if you got something that comes on your left or right front corner there within a foot, it'll let you know. So I think that's kind of cool. It's got leather, power seats, sunroof. Some of the buttons are peeling, typical Volkswagen style. It's in relatively good condition for, I think, yeah, it's got 193,000 miles on it. It was from New Mexico. That windshield washer light, this last winter, the headlight washers popped out because I think they had water in there and they froze. So something we'll look into fixing. We haven't detailed it. We do need to. The leather is in good shape. It needs to be conditioned. It's starting to dry out, but that's about the only cracks on the dash right there above the airbag. So we're gonna get a dash mat for it. It's got the little sunshades for the rear doors. Pretty slick. It's got the rear air conditioning controls. I think this actually has the rear heaters as well, and the seats. That's nice. Heated mirrors, two memory system. It's a nice car. That's kind of an overview. This is going to be the wife's car. The hood on the paint on the hood is definitely seen better days. Clear coat's peeled and some of the paint's getting down to chips down to bare metal. So what our plan is, I'll probably just see if I can sand down and paint just the hood and get it to be as close to the color match as possible. And we'll go from there. Who knows? Maybe we'll put a wrap on it. My wife's always interested in that kind of stuff. Make it kind of fun. Do a wrap. Yeah, if we can get this one, this will be the first TDI we get road ready. If everything works out good. Like I said, I think once we get the code show up, this thing's still running. Once we get the code show up, it should tell us that it's the turbo. I think it's bank 1, passenger side. No communication to the turbo, something like that if I remember right. I did, when I first got it, just jacked it up and got in there and made sure that the electrical connector is plugged into it. It is. Couldn't move the actuator. So it's just really tight to get there. I know that some guys been able to do some manipulating of it. I couldn't even get the actuator to manipulate. So plan I'm thinking is to drop the motor out of the black one. That way we have access to parts off of it. Then we'll come in, pull the turbo off of it, and then drop the motor on this one. I'll replace the seals to the back of the oil pumps on the back of the heads, or fuel pumps. Then we'll repair the turbo issue and any other problems we see, put the motor back in, and hopefully this car's good to go. Then it's just little things like the head washers, the paint on the roof, the battery drain issue. I know the batteries, they don't even hold a charge, I don't think anyway, so when we drop the motor, I'll probably pull the batteries out and do some testing to it. But I'm planning on replacing batteries, then we'll troubleshoot the battery drain. Hopefully it's just the calcium modules, and we'll change them as we need them. It'll be a good project. This will be kicking off our 2006 Volkswagen TDI Touareg. All right, so it's done running. You can see it resets back to the top. We got the engine control module, has 7 faults, the brakes, Kessie system, and it reads this thing's got so many computers. So there's 2 engine control modules. You got one here, engine control module 2, engine control module 1. One has 7 faults, I think. 2 has 1 fault. So, steering column electronics, gateway, all-wheel drive system's good, seat adjustment, navigation. So there's a lot here. The radio's got its own faults. Trailer phone. This has the tow package as well. Camera system. Like I said, a lot of this is going to be related to my battery drain issue. So what we'll do, let's take a look at the engine control module 1 codes. We'll go to trouble codes. Okay, so active, we got a database, drivetrain, and plausible message from level control system. So that is because they did a strut conversion on it, so I'm not worried about that. Glow plug indicator lamp malfunction message, that it works, I've seen it. So turbocharger control module missing message, so I think that's where we're having trouble. Glow plug circuit, glow plug. So that's all of them. So that's not too bad. I think this is the one we got to worry about. So it's a P3335 turbocharger control module missing message. So we'll go read the other engine control one, and then we'll do a quick clear. Engine control 2, read it. Oops. Push the wrong button here, trying to look through the camera. It doesn't always work. I'm going to give an update on this Autel scanner computer, what I like and what I really don't like, and the don't likes kind of outweigh it. Been having some trouble, so look for a video, watch out for a video for that. Okay, automatic dual control relay. So again, this is your, I believe bank 2 is and computer 2 is driver side, computer 1 is passenger side. I gotta double check that, but looks like the issues with bank 1 or engine control module 1 that we have up there. So we're gonna do a quick erase. And now it's gonna go through and erase all of them, and then it'll check for any codes that pop back up. So I'll bury the boredom on that one, and we'll check back once it's done erasing. Okay, so we're done running these erase, so you can kind of see the ones we gotta still have a fault for the wiper control unit. So let's see what it says. Trouble codes. Okay, so rain light recognition sensor open circuit. Okay, so I know exactly why. This one's sitting in the sun. We had a sun visor on the windshield, and the plastic clip broke off, so I disconnected it. So here's the connectors for that. It's part of the mirror. Circuit board, everything kind of popped loose, so I just have it in a box in the back, so I gotta fix it. I think this piece has been repaired. You can see it's all glued together. Let's see if I can focus it a little better. You can see somebody did some gluing, and under the sun it didn't work so good, so we need to work on that, so we don't have to worry. We know what that's for. Okay, so we'll go back. So everything else, you can see how they all cleared fairly good. Now we have brakes. Let's see what the brakes say, huh? Steering angle sensor. Let's see, my camera doesn't want to focus. No or incorrect setting adaptation. So I think because the battery died, I need to do a calibration to the steering angle sensor or a reset. That's not a big deal. I can do that. I'm not going to worry about it right now because it'll just come back when we have battery issues. So we'll go back, and we still have. So if we noticed, engine control module 2 doesn't show any faults, but 1 still does. So we'll go back into this. So there's our turbocharger control module 1 missing message. So that's the one I'm worried about. This impossible level, we're not worried about that. Remember, that was from the air ride system that was deactivated. I think they have some kind of makeshift plug in there that's supposed to keep it from having a check engine light. I don't have a check engine light even with this turbo message on there. That's the strange thing. But it does have that P3335 active turbocharger control module 1 missing message. So that is what we got to deal with. We'll do some research. If anybody knows, got any suggestions? I'm guessing when the guy I bought it from, he picked it up from a mission out of New Mexico, and they said they swapped the motors over, but when they swapped it, they messed up and forgot to put the controller for one of the turbos on. They sent it to him. He put the controller on, still got the same message. Kind of sounded a little sketchy. Now, I know these turbos are very specific. You can't, once it's been installed on one, like say bank on the driver's side, you can't turn around and put it on the passenger side, vice versa, the controllers. So they only will work on the side that they were originally put on. So I know that's a trick or issue. So we're just gonna have to tear it apart. If you guys got any ideas, put it in the comments below. It's going to be quite the challenge to figure it out, and hopefully we can get it going without too much trouble, besides pulling the motor. Alright, so I'm going to clean up the motor, pressure wash it, and we'll take it for a drive, see how she runs. Alright, so we got the engine all cleaned up, did the hood. I don't pressure wash it, I just use my garden hose, and I don't want to damage any electronics or anything, penetrate it too much, but this is definitely improvement. Easy to work on when we go to take it out of the car. Yeah, looks good. We got it running. Get it nice and hot. Probably take it for a drive down the highway just to get all that water off there so we don't get any corrosion. That's going to be it. Thanks for watching.